These students have researched all semester about the topic of Ebola. These students are here to tell us more about how it happened, what's going on now, and what we should do in the future.
So what exactly is Ebola? So it's an RNA virus, so I'm going to assume that we all know that there's a fundamental difference between viruses and bacteria and how they affect our body. So it causes a very severe infection and death in nearly 50% of the cases. There's 5 species of the virus and 4 are known to cause disease in humans. And the one that's been so popular is the Zaire Ebola virus. That's what's been, well, popular is the wrong word, I guess, in the news. So it's transmitted to humans from animals or other humans through blood, secretions, or bodily fluids. The infection first disarms our immune system, and it kind of attacks our first line of defense, and so we are very susceptible to the infection after that. And then it's going to dismantle the vascular system, and that's what's going to end up killing the patients. So this figure kind of walks us through the virus infection and what its effect on our body is. So it takes about a week when you first start seeing symptoms, and you see fatigue, muscle soreness, fever, and day 10 you're going to get the more severe symptoms with vomiting, fever, and passive behavior. By day 11 you're seeing bruising, you're starting to have failure of your organ system, so brain damage, bleeding from the nose, mouth, and eyes, and anus, pretty severe. In day 12, that's when you're going to start to see death, loss of consciousness, seizures, and massive internal bleeding.
So the virus was first identified in 1976, so a lot of people believe that this current outbreak was the first time that the Ebola virus was seen, but this virus has been around for several decades. The virus originated in the Democratic Republic of Congo from the Ebola River, which where it gets its name from. The most deadly strain of the Ebola virus is the Zaire Ebola strain, and there are 5 known strains currently of the virus. The symptoms of Ebola, so the early symptoms include headache, fever, and muscle fatigue. So a lot of these symptoms are really similar to those that are commonly found in people with the flu. So if you have those symptoms, don't panic and say, oh, I have Ebola. It actually can be the flu. The first thing that healthcare providers should do is to do no harm. So there's an ethical concern associated with the treatment of patients for Ebola. And the first thing that they need to do is minimize the risk of transmission of the virus. Another key factor when controlling the disease is being aware. So a lot of people in these villages, they have no idea what Ebola is. You need to be aware of the disease in order to, treat, in order to have like treatment and things like that. So it's extremely difficult to prevent the transmission of this virus in a large area where the virus is coming, and that's the current problem that is going on today. It's difficult also to restrict individuals from leaving their homes. So you can't just tell an individual to stay home if they're sick, because in these types of villages and things like that, people have to go out to get their food, they have to go to work and things like that to support their families.
So epidemiology is a study of patterns, causes, and effects of the disease in a population. So this refers to the disease causes, transmission, investigation, as well as following the spread of the disease, screening people for the disease, and the treatment effects that we've discussed. So the most recent outbreak was initiated at the end of 2013, but this is a 2014 outbreak, due to a little boy who was infected, and they believe that this tree was how he got infected. It was full of bats, and he was playing near it, and they think he got bit. And he died at the end of 2013, and that was how the original, that was the origin point of the spread of the disease. And since then, it has been shown that it has not been spread from animals, so it's just at this point spread from person to person. And here's a map where you can kind of see the outbreaks of the most recent outbreak in Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and Mali, and Senegal. So the 2014 outbreak cases, there have been 25,500 reported cases and 10,000 deaths. But the CDC believes that
these reports are inaccurate, and they're probably about 2 to 3 times higher because, as we discussed, these healthcare workers come into their towns and they're scared, they're afraid, they know that if they say, hey, I'm sick, that they might get taken away from their families. They don't know, is this a real thing? Can I trust these people? So there's a mistrust and just in general fear. Inclusion, just how you can help. And that is just increasing your knowledge. Don't panic. If someone starts freaking out about this, be like, it's okay, calm down, let's really talk about what's going on. And then you can donate. There are so many sources where you can donate money to, and that's going to help these people who are at risk. So.